Good morning and welcome back to the Adventures of Mac Anthea and part 2 of autumn jobs around the farm. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to run you over the basics of the Rotavator. If you've got generators, which you probably will have if you're doing off-grid living, it's more or less the same as that, a Honda based generator. Here, if you've got it on your model, on-off switch, on, choke here on, and then pull cord when it starts, choke straight away off. Okay, the only difference with this is you do have like a thumb throttle for adjusting the speed, which you would normally be automatically on the generator. Okay, once you've got yourself started, you don't need to be using brute force for this. In fact, you'll wear yourself out if you try and brute force it. It's a case of gently, as it's moving, persuading it to go where you want it to go. If you've ever driven a car without power steering, I think that's probably most of you haven't, you normally get the vehicle rolling first before you start trying to move the steering, then it goes better. Same principle on this, get it moving and then start to gently manoeuvre it. Now if you want it to go deeper, gently put pressure down on the handles. If it gets stuck in a bit of a rut or stuck on something and turning, jerk it up like that by tapping your hand and it will jump itself out. Okay, so we've done the first pass over here. I normally do 2 passes, so what I've done is I'll do 1 pass. You'll find it doesn't matter how many times you rotivate a piece of land, rocks will constantly be turning up to the surface again. There's some that will pass through the rotavator, sort of things this size you ain't got to worry about too much. But then they'll always turn up bigger stuff. I'll see if I can find something for you. So what I normally do is I walk around and have a look to see if there's any big rocks after I've done the first pass. I mean, some of them are tossed when I'm actually going round. I think there's one around here somewhere. See this sort of thing. All wants to come out, and then you pass the second time. First time tends to be a bit harder because the ground's a bit hard. It's bouncing the rotavator back and forth like this. But the second pass is easy. It's just a case of levelling out and getting it all even. But I think you agree, it makes a hell of a difference. It looks really nice when it's been rotavated, and it turns all the weeds back in. So obviously those nutrients of the dead weeds being turned back in and going back into the soil. I will say try and avoid rotavating when it's a windy day or when it's due to be windy, because a lot of the nutrients are contained in the top part of the soil. If you turn it over and then you get a windy day, it blows all the nutrients away with the dust. So avoid it. I mean, it's always better, not easier in Spain, to do it before you do rain. Okay, so that's done. That's the second pass. You probably can't tell a great deal of the difference on camera. You really should, if you've got trees on your land, at least go around, do a circle around the trees. A lot of people I know like open meadows and don't like things turned up. But if you rotivate just a couple of circles round your trees and then say a path between them with the rotavator, it catches so much more water when you do get rainfall, and instead of the water just sheeting off the hard surface, it soaks down into the ground, into your trees better. Okay, so I'm going to make a start on this bit. This is the final little stretch around our ornamental garden, really, I suppose. Grapes are going to get in our way a bit, but it's too early to trim them back. If we trim them back now, even though they're dying off, sap will come out of them, and yeah, not a good thing. Okay, so I'll crack on with the next bit. Okay, so that's that section rotavated. Come out quite nice. Another good advantage about rotavating and turning the soil over is also when we get sort of flash floods, it stops the water from the rain flowing straight across the smooth flat bits and then breaking down the banks, which you may have seen in previous videos of where I've had to repair the banks where the storm's damage has just blown them apart. Okay, so I'm going to go up to the end and get on with rotavating the vegetable patch. Okay, so that's the first pass done. Turn some of the weeds back in. I've just got to go up and check on the water because the generator's working and pumping the water up to the top. We did do it the other day, but we only managed to get 1,000 litres of water done because the main tank wasn't very full and it was taking so slow to fill up again. We only got 1,000 litres done. It really needs 3,000 litres each time. Now the main tank's filled up again. We've started watering. We'll probably give another couple of 1,000 litres and call it quits for another 10 days. Okay, so I'm just going to quickly nip up and check on that. Okay, and that's that area finally done. We're only putting potatoes in this year. I'm hopefully going to get an autumn lot in. I'm sort of a bit of a loss when to put them in because the summer's getting longer and lasting later. So I don't know. They have to go in pretty soon, I suppose. Good morning and welcome back to the Adventures of Mac Anthea. This morning we're back down the farm. It's Sunday morning, sort of mid-October. We've just come down to do a few bits and bobs. This video, the one you watch, is probably going to be made up of over several weeks. It's because I'm currently doing a bit of work, private work for a private customer doing building, just to top up the coffers a bit. And we're only really managing to get down to do some farm work when we can. There's always plenty to do down the farm, it's endless, but at the minute with the building work I don't really have much time to get down here. So this morning what we're going to do is we're going to tend the vegetable patch and prepare for the potatoes. Okay, so in a minute I'll turn you around and quickly show you what we're going to do. So last year we put several different types of vegetables in, generally just to test how well they grow on this patch. We didn't do any tests at all. We didn't do any pH tests or or density of soil tests, anything like that. Nothing really did that great. The potatoes, we had some potatoes, but I mean, it's hard to mess up doing potatoes really. But it still wasn't brilliant. It wanted a great load of kilos. So what we did then is we tested the soil, which turns out actually the pH is all right in this soil here, but it does get quite clayey. I know it looks sort of soft and loose now, but it didn't. As soon as you add water, it sort of clangs together. So what we're going to do is just try and lighten the soil a bit. Now ideally we'd use compost from our compost bins, but it's not ready yet. So I've been and bought some bags of compost. And what we aim to do is we're just going to sprinkle this on and rake it over. I know it's not a lot, but I mean it gets expensive. So we just have to manage with 4 bags. Sprinkle it over the top of the soil here and then rake it in. And then I think what I might do, I may even add some sand as well, just to get the soil to drain a bit better. And then later I shall bring back the rotavator again and turn it all back in. So the first step, what we're going to do is we're going to put half a sack, because hopefully it's quite compact, into the wheelbarrow, and then we're going to take the wheelbarrow onto the vegetable patch and do 8 individual piles. And then what we're going to do then is we'll rake it out from there. Okay, so we're going to settle for that. It's only really a thin layer, but how much do you spend? That's four bags of compost, €20. You could go on forever. So that'll do for now, and we'll have to add to it over the years, I suppose, and as we get our own compost going. So I've just started the digger. I'm going to go up top and load some sand. Could do it by hand, but what's the point? You've got a digger and a dumper. Okay, so I've been up the top, got the sand. We're back down the bottom. What we're going to do this time, I'm not just going to pour it in the middle of the vegetable patch here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to do a repeat of what we did with the compost. What we're going to do is just do 8 little piles and rake it out evenly, because I don't really want a big concentration of it in one spot. I want it spread quite evenly and thinly throughout. Okay, so I think we're going to settle for that for now. We'll leave that. Hopefully we'll get some rain. More rain, please, God. But yeah, don't knock all the olives off my trees with a thunderstorm. Yeah, nice bit of rain be nice. Soak that all in a bit, but yeah, chances of that happening are pretty slim. Hopefully sometime in a week or next weekend I'll get the Rotavator in down here, turn it all back into itself, mix it up properly, and then we'll start planting potatoes. Good morning and welcome back. We're back down the farm and we're back working on the potato patch. As you recall, last time we were here we put all the fertiliser in and some sand. So what we're looking to do now, we left it a couple of days, it was meant to rain, hoping it'd rain on top of it and drain it down to soil, but that hasn't happened as usual, so we can't wait any longer, we've just got to get on. So we brought the Rotavator back down. I'm going to quickly whip over it with the Rotavator because there's not much fuel in it, we've just found. And then we're going to start putting our trenches down for our potatoes.
It's the Rotavator.
Okay, so we're going to call that done. I've done a couple of passes around there with the Rotavator, turn most of it all back in again. So we're going to start rowing these out now, putting some lines in, making some rows. We're going to do it a bit different to last time. Last time we sort of did it, we dug trenches, sort of 20 centimetres deep, put the potatoes in and made banks, and then gradually banked up as they grew. Didn't work ever so well, so I'm sort of going to do it how a lot of the Spanish people do it here. And I'm going to do a bit of a bank first and put the potato into the bottom of the bank. Okay, so that's done for today. Tomorrow we'll put potatoes in. I've only just cut them in half back at the house today, so I'm going to let them dry out on the sides before we plant them. Just like to add, this is not a how to do video, this is how we try to do. If it was olive trees it'd be a different matter, but potatoes and vegetables, no. Don't follow what we do and take it as gospel. Do your own research. Okay, so we've got that done. What I'm going to do now is we've got some irrigation pipe here. We're going to try this stuff. It's a new stuff which the Spanish use a lot. It's got a hole in it, an irrigation hole in it every 30 centimetres. What we're going to do is we're going to unfold it and lay it out across the ground flat. The reason we do that is because what happens is it's been in a roll so long and in the heat, it kills itself back up again. It's hard to work with. So what we do is we roll it out, weigh it down a bit and leave it in the sun for a day or two, and then it straightens out. Okay then, so we're going to get on stretching this pipe out and then we're probably going to call it a day down here. Good morning and welcome back. We're back down at the farm again the next day to plant the potatoes. Okay, so we've got a bit of a mixture when we come to potatoes. These first ones that have rooted quite badly, they're ones I saved from actually last December. I've had them in a cardboard box here in the dark, hoping to stop them from rooting too much. Looked up online and they're saying that they're okay to plant. In a lot of ways they're sometimes better, you get a lot more individual shoots off them, but they're meant to be planted with the shoots vertically apparently. Then we've got some ones we've got from the supermarket. Wouldn't usually use the one from the supermarket because they put chemicals on them to inhibit growth, you know, to stop them rooting. But these ones are actually from a smaller supermarket and came with dirt on them. So I suspect they're probably organic and haven't had any inhibitor sprayed on them at all. So I've got them. I've cut some of them in half so we can double up sort of on our planting. And then again, we've got some. You might have seen from previous videos that we had some potato plants grow on their own. We dug them up and we saved them for sweet potatoes as well. So in a minute we're going to get on. What we're going to do is we're going to plant them along this line here, 30 centimetres apart on all these lines, and see how we go on. Okay, so that's just been a hell of a lot harder work than it needed to be. I'll get my shadow out of the film. Yeah, the ones that are already sprouted were hard work. I've had to dig great big chunks out of the bank more or less to take apart the work we did yesterday. Hopefully the ones that are just normal potatoes, like these three at the end, we'll just be able to make little holes and put them into the banks. So we'll have to see how it goes. Well, we made a right pigs over that, didn't we? Definitely made that harder work than it needed to be. I think I said earlier on the footage last year we actually did a trench, planted the potatoes in the trench, and then as they started to come up green, we banked it up. It worked really well. We had a lot of green foliage, we kept banking up and banking up. We've only really one major downside. We had very few potatoes off it. I think with 9 plants that came through, we only had 7 kilos of potatoes, which is pretty poor. So that's why we're trying this new method, you know, sort of copy as best we can how they do it here in Spain. So in a minute I'll flip you around and I'll talk you through the next part of the process. Okay, so we've done all the rows. Well, we've done 5 of the rows. We ended up with an extra row which we knew yesterday, but 5 rows and just over 60 seed potatoes in there. We've got this one left here, which I'll look and see what's best for this time of year. But I think I'll probably end up putting some peas in there actually, just to fill that gap. So I think the next process is what we're going to do is we're going to put the pipes in. We're going to make them slightly long, and I'm going to wait and see where the plants come up so we can jiggle back and forwards more in line with the holes. So in a minute we're going to do it, cut into this pipe here. You may recall in the previous video that we did it for the irrigation system. Put a T in about there, drop it down there, and then bring it right across along there, the pipe, and cap it. And then what we've got is some a special hole maker and some plugins to do the individual pipes, which I'll show you as we go along. Okay, so that's all that done. All the irrigation pipes laid out, loosely put with stones until they set into position. After being in the sun for a while, they should do that. The idea is we'll wait until the shoot stock coming up for the potatoes. We'll jiggle the pipes around a little bit, just so try and get the water holes the most efficient watering around, and then you'll pile a little bit of soil back on top of the pipes to shield the pipes. I do have concerns that obviously the little holes are going to block. I'll just quickly put this up in front. There's four little holes that sort of come here. I am concerned that they may block with the clay and that, but it is the way the Spanish seem to do it. I mean, if they've got lots of water, the Spanish, they'll just flood all the troughs between the mounds and water them that way. But if they're a bit scarcer on the water, what they'll normally do is they'll use this pipe. So anyway, what we're going to do now is we're going to switch, you just watched us do all the connections up here. We're going to switch the water on and see how well it actually works. Okay, so they seem to be dripping away well there. So we're going to give that time to get all the air out of the pipes and give this bank a good dousing and see how well it works. In the meantime, we're going to go and replace the tree down at the bottom. We're going to be lazy, we're going to use a digger. What's the point in digging by hand when you've got a digger? So I'm going to get that down there. Anthea's already waiting for me, and just replace this one new tree.
Coming up in the Adventures of Mac Anthea, we have a storm that ends up with us having to pick up many of our olives up off the floor. We pick the remaining olives off of the olive trees and take them down to the olive factory to weigh them in. So all that remains is me to thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please hit like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.